Hi guys, back on the video. This is Wandering Swordsman What Ifs, and um this is what if Deku had solo leveling. And just so you guys know, this does not mean that I'm not gonna do the what if Deku had enhancement quirk. That just means because I lost a little passion for that, so I decided to make a new one. I know people have done this before, but I don't think I'll use I won't use their ideas. I'm trying to make it original, okay? So basically, please like, comment, cause no one has commented yet. I want to see someone comment, and please subscribe as well if you guys want to. And I mean that's all I have to say. Yeah. So we start off. Well, we're gonna start now. So we start off with Deku on his way to his last day of middle school. Yeah, his last day of middle school, and Deku um encountered the sludge villain, and he tried to run away from the sludge villain and was able to hold off until All Might came in and Detroit smashed Deku. And it all goes towards canon, where Deku holds on to All Might, goes to the rooftop, and gets told that he can't be a hero. But almost like, no. And then jumps off. Tells him, no, you cannot be a hero, and then jumps off. And no, the sludge incident doesn't happen, so Deku doesn't get All Might's quirk. And Deku's kind of torn up and pressed because his number one favorite and idol hero told him that he cannot be a hero. And this totally broke Deku's mental stability, his physical and emotional stability, meaning that he is incredibly depressed. And Deku trying to make his way back home. But he sees the debut of Mount Lady, and he gets a little too close. And the villain, the giant villain, hits a building, and the bars are everything fell down and hit Deku. All the rubble, rocks, and everything hit Deku. And Mount Lady finishes off the villain and turns back into her little form and carries Deku to the hospital. Deku barely breathing. There's a lot of his whole entire body is punctured by bars, and Mount Lady feels terrible. And on his way there, Deku has his eyes open, but feels like he's about to die, and he's like, well, this is how it finishes. I mean, I didn't want to live anymore, but I still wanted to be happy. Too bad I had to finish like this. Deku's about to close his eyes, and a blue screen pops up and says, do you want to become a player? If not, and Deku says, well, oh, I got no more to lose. Now, Deku's attitude because of this has changed in a great form. Now, Deku is 5 times worse than Bakugo. So, his attitude has become, like, cocky and all of this. But that is not until a specific moment. Now, Deku is brought to the infirmary, and he wakes up, and he's like, oh, my head. He's like, I can't remember anything. I think I can remember that blue screen. And Deku gets barraged by questions from his mother that came into the room. And she's like, Deku, are you okay? Deku, did anything happen? No, Izuku, did anything happen? Are you okay, my little baby? And, Deku can see, he like, lifts up his shirt and can see the hundreds of scars and everything he has in his body. And he's heavily confused because he doesn't remember getting hit or dying at all. He remembers dying, but he doesn't remember how he died. So his mom explains to him what happened, which was explained by Mount Lady to his mom, and then the the doctor comes in and he's like, "Well, we did a few tests and you're fully healed, but we know you're quirkless and you were on death's door, and we have no idea how you survived." And Deku is kind of like dumbfounded, like, "What do you mean I was on death's door? Nothing. What the hell?" He's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You don't remember?" He's like, "Remember what?" And the doctor starts to explain that from Mount Lady's report that he was heavily hurt and that he was almost or actually died during the exchange of Mount Lady leaving him at the hospital. And then seconds later, Mount Lady comes in. He's like, "Well, I'm happy to see you're okay, but like, how are you not dead?" And he's like, "Okay, I'm kind of confused. What do you mean dead?" And then a blue screen pops up, and Deku flinches, and he was like, "Deku, are you?" And Izuku flinches, and Izuku's mom gets kind of worried because she's never seen Izuku flinch. So she's kind of scared, thinking, "You okay? Is anything wrong with Izuku?" And Izuku says no. And he doesn't talk about the blue screen that just popped up saying, "Daily quest. 100 push-ups, I think, 100 sit-ups, and a 10-kilometer run." Wait, give me a second. Let me check the comic. I'm about to see if that is right. Okay, yeah, it is. So, Deku, I mean Izuku, is kind of dumbfounded because he thought that the blue screen that he saw when he died was just something random that just came up. So Deku's like, "So I wasn't dreaming." And Deku says, well, everyone finishes talking to Deku. The doctor says, when Izuku asks when can he be discharged, and he says around a week, in a week. And Izuku's mom says she'll come and see him every day. Deku says there's no need for that. I know you work a lot, and I think you need to focus more on my little sister. And yes, Deku does have a little sister, and I'm gonna call her Mina. Even though Mina is the acid girl, I'm just gonna call her Mina. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna call her Mina. And um, so Deku can see that there's a daily quest. After everyone leaves, he's like, "What the hell?" And like, "What is this?" And then a voice comes out of nowhere, says, "I am the leveling system." And he's like, "Who's there?" And Deku says, "No." And the leveling system says, "I am the leveling system." And he's like, "Is a blue screen talking to me?" In his mind, he's like, "Yes, a blue screen is talking to you." And it's like, "You can read my mind." It's like, "Yes, I am connected to you in a deep level." And he's like, "Wow, here we go." He was like, kind of annoyed because he doesn't want just a random technology to know what he's thinking. And Deku, he's like, "Okay, so what are you?" And he says, "I am the leveling system." "Okay, I know you're the leveling system. Tell me why you're here." "Well, you chose to be a player." And Deku was like, "I chose to be a player." And then he has a flashback, like, where the blue screen pops up and says, "Do you want to become a player?" He's like, "Wait, that was you?" And the leveling system is like, "Yes, it was me." And Deku's kind of dumbfounded. So he's like, "Okay." And then, sorry, I was yawning. So midway conversation with the leveling system, Bakugo comes in and is like, hey, nerd. Look at you talking to yourself. What? Did you hit your head too hard?" And it's like, "Shut up, nerd." And he's like, "What'd you say to me?" He's like, "What you heard, idiot." And Deku kind of Bakugo looks at Deku like, "You're hurt. How do I want to kill you?" He's like, "Try it." And Deku's firing up his explosions like, "What you want me to do?" It's like, "Try it." And Baku's like, "Shut up, Izuku. Now, why are you talking to yourself?" And Izuku says, "None of your business." It's like, "What's up with your attitude?" It's like, "What's up with yours?" And Bakugo leaves the room annoyed and all. And Izuku goes back to talking to the leveling system. He's like, "Who was that?" And he says, "A friend of mine." He's like, "Well, you showed high levels of hostility towards your friend. It doesn't look like he's much of a friend, but looks more like an enemy." And he's like, "It doesn't matter." He's like, "Okay." The leveling system says okay. And the leveling system starts to explain its mechanics, saying, "I am the leveling system." He's like, "Can we call you something else?" And he's like, "Okay, what do you want to name me?" He's like, "Mina 2.0. Yeah, he calls it Mina 2.0. And he's like, "Mina 2.0." And the leveling system researches Deku's mind and says, "Oh, Mina is your entity called sister." He's like, "Entity? Sister is a blood relative." And he's like, "Well, okay then." And then takes kind of a tutorial towards Deku and says, "Well, um, actually, you know what? The tutorial happens when Deku starts doing stuff. So, it explains what the daily quest is, and it says the daily quest is basically a quest that you need to do. If not done, then you will receive no. Then you will be brought to the penalty zone." And he asks what the penalty zone is, and it says it comes at random, but she knows exactly what it is. He's like, Woody's like, "I don't want to die a second time, so let's do this." And Deku starts doing sit-ups, push-ups, and then does the 10-kilometer run. And he does this around for a month. And every single day, his sister would come by and give him food and talk to him. Baka would come around every single week. No, every single one day a week. And they'd eventually end up fighting and then laughing and then Bakugo leaving. And in this time, Deku has become like what Sung Jin Woo used to look like in the comic. And we start wait. So Deku gets discharged. Actually, you know what? Yeah, like I said, he gets discharged in 1 week, and I said he passed 1 month. Well, he passed one. He decided to pass 1 week in there, and then do the rest 3 weeks in his house doing all of the things. So he got as lean and cut as Sun Jin-woo got. And, well, Deku went back to school because he didn't want to miss up on school and become a dropout. So he came back to school, and every single girl, including, what's his name? I don't know the girl's name, but almost every single girl in the class, like Deku, was like, and then Baku comes up to Deku, was like, "What happened to you, nerd? Looked like you took a 3-year break and got cut in." No, what I mean by cut and lean is like a strength-wise kind of like status. For example, if you're cut and lean, like take like take Goku and then elongate his muscles and make them a little smaller. So he looks skinny but strong. Okay, so yeah. And he's going to school. And then the 10th month break happens cuz Deku doesn't want to go to UA. He still wants to be a hero now that he has a chance to be a hero. Cuz Deku's mindset was that he wanted to be a hero, but because what All Might said, he didn't want to become a hero as much as he did want to become a hero. So Deku um ends up, after a month of doing the whole entire thing, he gets a box of kind of for doing it for 1 month. And this box, I think, has a key. I think that's how the comic went. Or no, I think he just got a key. And um so Deku um reads the status of the key, and Deku does not know how to put stat points in, so he just doesn't do it. And as soon as he get this, Mina 2.0 starts talking. He's like, huh, been a long time since I heard you. And he's like, it has been, master. And he's like, master? And he's like, yeah, you're basically my master. And Deku's kind of dumbfounded, and he takes this key and looks at the status, saying that this key, well, I'm gonna change it up a little bit from what the comic did. This key opens a dungeon, but it's random, so it's not like you can choose where it goes. But this key is kind of like a skill. He has the skill to open up any gate. And like you guys might have guessed, no, there's no hunters. So it's just Deku is a hunter. So wait, actually, let me try to look for an image of Deku, how he looks. So Izuku kind of looks like this. So yeah, Izuku. Well, he looks like this, but like times two. Abs are bigger, and his chest size goes bigger. So basically, you remember how if you guys have read the comic, Jin Woo started off with, he was like little, like Deku, in his normal form without any training. And Jin Woo's chest and everything grew like 2 times bigger, or like 3 times, I don't know. And this made Jin Woo look stronger, bigger, and to the woman sexier. No homo. And yeah, so basically this is how Deku looks like. Well, no, this is how Deku's half looks like, or 3 times half. Yeah, so I'm gonna go back to the same picture that we were at. Okay, so yeah, so Deku. Well, it comes to the actual last day of. Well, actually, you know what? No, the last day happened that time. So it was 1 month. So Deku planned to still go to UA, even though he didn't. He went back to school and told them that he was gonna go to UA. So he still goes to UA, and basically Deku trains for 9 months, and basically the first month. Well, actually, you know what? We're gonna start off with Deku, and he right now is. It is right now like 5 in the morning, and he has the key, and he says open, and the leveling system, or Mina point 2.0 says, well, you wish to open a dungeon or a gate. And he's like, yes. And he's like, the requirements say, you will not be allowed to leave this gate unless you beat the boss. And MMORPG. And he's like, the leveling system searches up what this is. And he's like, yes, exactly what it looks like. And Deku's like, well then, okay. And he heads inside, and well, actually, no. He jumps around the whole entire city until he finds a black gate, and people are just randomly walking around it. And Actually, you know what? No. So he goes into this abandoned uh subway station, and he goes inside, and he sees the black gate, and he enters the black gate, and then he goes back down the remaining stairs. And then first thing he sees is a bunch of animals. And the leveling system says recommended weapon, katana and dagger. And so Deku goes into his inventory and says fire black metal stone katana. And he opens it, and he starts slashing around, and the creatures are basically like wolves, ogres, and vampires. We're just gonna do like that. Wolves, ogres, and vampires. And there's like, I'm gonna, unless this is the way it was, I'm gonna change it up that there's 5 levels, and each level the monsters increase by level 5, and every single time Deku destroyed a monster, he got 100 XP points, and destroying 10 monsters, he receives a level up. And then the leveling system says, "Do you wish to put your points in?" He's like, "Points?" He's like, "Yes, to increase your stats." And he's like, kind of like the leveling. It's like, leveling system. It must be exactly what it sounds like. And he's like, open status? Because he just thinks of open status. So he just opens his status. And out appears his stat points. And because he's trained, his strength is up to 10. His intelligence, because he is a little smart, because he's kind of like a nerd, his intelligence is 20. His dexterity, or his vitality and dexterity. So his defense and health. His health is 15 because he's been bullied by Bakugo, so he has to have a lot of health if he's gonna survive bullying from Bakugo that long. And we also have dexterity. He has a lot of dexterity. He has like 17 dexterity because his defense has been trained by Bakugo subconsciously, not doing it intentionally. And his sense, I think, and AP. So his AP, which I do not know what that is, I'm just gonna give him a random 15 on that. And his, I think, sense, Deku does not have. I don't think Deku senses anything, so he's gonna have a normal, either a 5 or I'm actually gonna give him a 5 on 5 on sense. And Deku is fighting these monsters, and slowly but surely his mastery of fighting with a sword goes up. And yeah, I'm gonna give it a mastery point. So mastery of fighting with a sword goes up. And what I mean by mastery, so Zoro, I'm gonna put kind of like a solo leveling but Zoro at the same time. So you know how Zoro mastered, eventually mastered no, he eventually mastered the 3 sword hand style. Well, then Deku will eventually master the 1 hand style with a katana. But Deku has the leveling system explains that he has 2 classes, and one class he does have the power of the leveling system, but he's different. He's not a reincarnation, so that doesn't mean he needs to be exactly like Jensen Woo, but he's different. So he has 1, the mastery of magic, and 2nd, the mastery of a samurai. So no, actually, I'm gonna give him 3. So he has 1 mastery of he's a samurai master. No, he has the ability to become a samurai master, magic master, and the other one is a assassin, I think, or just like stealth assassin. So assassin master, and so Deku is. I did okay. Just like sad point. Off track. This video is going to be an hour 30 minutes long, and also I did a script, but the script that I wrote it was like a 5-page script, and I already finished a 5-page script. So I mean, yeah, and it is scripted, but like the last 5 minutes I've been going off my head. So yeah. So now Deku is finished with the first level, and is fighting the first level boss. So I'm giving it like kind of like a AOT kind of vibe, or SAO kind of vibe, or a if you guys know these animes, Sword Art Online, kind of like the dungeon level, and I'm also giving it a kind of like a is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon kind of vibe. If you guys know both of those animes, so Deku goes into the first boss, and after receiving a stat boost, he puts he because he doesn't put any levels into anything, he has 50 stat points, and he focuses on he takes uh okay, he takes 25 and puts it into strength. He takes 10, puts it into strength, and puts the rest into his defense, is dexterity. I think it is dexterity or vitality. I don't know which one both of the two is, but like you guys choose. And basically, Deku is well, right now Deku is goes inside, and there's like a big obstacle, like a pattern of scales at the top of his covering the entrance. But like he goes inside, but like there's a frame to enter inside, but it's covered by this scaly wall. So he kicks it, and it gets slightly thrown back, and it flinches, and then it moves so fast, and next thing Deku sees is a snake with a mouth open coming straight to Deku, and Deku goes straight at it and starts barrage punching it, doing slight blunt damage, and Deku tries to slash down on it, but his sword is not able to cut through it. And just so you guys know, for samurai class, his sword that he uses is unbreakable. It cannot be broken, and the sharpness increases with mastery, and the strength that he has with the sword increases with mastery as well. And for magic, he can do a normal fireball. And Deku starts throwing a barrage of fireballs, because he kind of put a lot into AP. Like, he got 50 stat points from the normal 1 month training. I mean, yeah, the 1 month exercise training, and he gained 100. Actually, you know what? Not 100. 25 from killing the monsters. So Deku put all that 25 into AP, and right now he has the magic capacity of a mid-rank mage. And if you guys want to know what a mid-rank would mean, is like take if you guys know what's the name? If you guys know Black Clover, take the vice president of the number one guild. So it is kind of, wait, let me pause for a second. Sorry, it's just that I had to give something to my mom. No, actually, my brother and my mom. So, we yeah. So we move on, and Deku punched with all his strength down into one scale, and this blew the snake down, while trying. Sorry if you guys could hear that. That was my mother trying to talk to me. Yeah, I had to find like a quieter place to do these things. But regardless, we move on to Deku, and he is able to break one of the he's able to break one of the scales off the snake, and he takes his sword and he digs into the snake, and the snake is in incredible like he's incredibly damaged. Like he's screaming and whining and everything, and well, Deku goes inside of the snake. No homo. He literally digs into the snake and goes inside of his organs and starts cutting them apart. And eventually, Deku comes out. The snake's still alive. Looks like it regened, and he's like, "Damn it!" And the scale's still broken. Looks like it can't regen scales. And says the only way to kill this thing is by cutting off its head. And then it starts throwing acid towards Deku, and Deku's barely able to dodge these. So he's like, he checks his stat points, and because of fighting, he gained a new skill, and this skill is called Blue Fireball. He's like, Blue Fireball! And he shoots it toward the acid that the monster was throwing at Deku. And surprisingly, this acid disintegrated. He's like, wow, looks like its fire is strong. And now Deku has great, well, not really. Now Deku decides that he's going to need to get more skills like these. And looks like because of the barrage of fireballs that he used, his mastery of magic went up. And looks like as when his mastery goes up, he gains a new skill. And Deku is like, a new skill. He's like, let me check Samurai. And he gains this skill called Lion Song. Yep, Lion Song. So basically, Deku gained the ability to teleport, well, kind of like move fast enough and cut things apart. So he uses his skill and says, he calls himself the Black Samurai or the Black Ninja. So he says Black Samurai, and he doesn't call it Lion Song. He calls it teleportation slash. Yeah, teleportation slash. Black Samurai, skill 1, teleportation slash, and cuts off the head. And he's like, he's breathing heavily, and he's like, he hasn't mastered anything on assassin class, so he sees that he kind of has like a crafting table. Minecraft reference. Kind of has like a crafting table, and he gets like recipes. He gets recipes for food and recipe for weapons. And out of one of the skills that he ripped off, he gets 150 scales from killing the monster. And it says that he can craft a weapon that is grade A. And he knows what grade A is because he remembers that the leveling Mina 2.0 explained that they're grades. Grade A, grade B, grade 3. I said grade 3. There is the weakest, grade D. No, actually, grade E, D, A, B, C, D, E. Bro, I had to reset the ABCDs, bro. I can't count back on numbers. That's one of my weaknesses. So, it goes from grade E, D, C, B, and A. And it goes up by that. And a grade A, no, it goes from A to S, 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 and S, S, S. So it's up to the max is at 3 S's. And, he gets a grade A. So he's kind of surprised, he's kind of proud. And he sees the skill, skill enhancement that this gives him. And he sees that his agility is multiplied, no, not multiplied. It adds 20 points of agility onto him and 30 points of strength. So a grade A is very powerful. And the leveling system then pops up and says, "Do you wish to acquire points?" And he asks what points are, and points is kind of like a currency, but in the leveling system, and this can be transferred into yen. And also, these points can buy him weapons and such. And Deku, as soon as she says weapons, a tab pops up saying shop, and he presses on shop, and he sees there's even SS classes, and there is specific ones for each class. There is suits of armor for soldier class. So I'm gonna tell you the classes they are. So there is maid class, samurai class, warrior class, brute class, stealth assassin class. Then there is Dragonite class. Then there. Well, I'm making up these classes, but just saying. And then now we move on, and Deku is making his way to the second dungeon, and the 11th system. Do you wish to go to the second dungeon? And it says, but what would happen if I've been here for like 2 days? Wouldn't mom be worried? And the leveling system then goes on to say that inside this dimension, which is a different dimension from where he's from, time moves extremely slower. Right now, it looks like 2 seconds have passed in your world. And he's like, I'm here. You're like he could spend around all his life here, and it would be like 1 year over there. And basically, this is what Deku does. Well, he can. His age, he could spend 80 or as much years as he wants there, and his age would only move on to the age that he was in his dimension. His age wouldn't pass that much in this dimension. So, Deku, well, he does pass around. Oh, sorry for that. Okay, there we go. So, Deku passes around, let's say, 5 months there. And 5 months is basically like 1 month in the real world. And yeah, no, actually 1 week. So, yeah. And I'm not going to tell you what happened in the past week. I'm going to tell you how it happens without telling you the time. And, his mom isn't worried. She thinks that he is, well, he did give an excuse. He says that he was going to go on a camping trip with his class. Or with the heroes. And, Deku, during this 5 months, the first day of the first 5 months, or the first 1 month, he spends defeating the monsters. And basically for the second level dungeon, because each key that opens a dungeon, that dungeon has 5 levels. At least to his knowledge, has 5 levels. And the higher he goes, the harder it's gonna get. So Deku is right now getting explained, and Deku doesn't buy anything. Instead, he converts his money into yen, and 1 point equals 10 yen. Actually, no, 100 yen. So, if you guys know the yen currency, it takes around 2 yen. Actually, no, 4 or 2 yen to equal $1. So each 1 point equals 10 yen, and every single time he kills, he gets 50 points. And all of this gets sent to Izuku's bank account, and Izuku plans on making a fortune and giving his family the best life that they could ever have. So we move on to Deku now fighting, and the first dungeon he spends fighting elemental wolves, fire wolves, water wolves, and everything. And his mastery went up, and it looks like there is a there's like a thing that says how much stuff, like, or how much, or what he gets, like a status report of his mastery. So as soon as his mastery levels up, there's a status report saying mastery leveled up, new stat points acquired, and it says higher damage, higher sharpness, higher speed, and everything. And Deku says this, and uh he goes on and says status point weapon, because the leveling set told Deku to say that, and as soon as he says it, he sees that he can force upgrade his weapons. And I'm if this pisses anyone off, I'm slightly changing the story, because Deku is not Jun Woo, he is Deku. So he's not gonna be exactly like Jun Woo, and maybe he might just be a little better from this. So we move on to where Deku is finally done with the elemental wolves, and there's 5 stages: elemental wolves, and he moves on to ogres, and he's slashing open ogres, and he's like, well, looks like I'm gonna have to do this, and I'm gonna have to level up this. And he goes over to his magic and starts sending off, kind of like, they look like ki blasts. He's moving his eye, kind of like Goku would do if he's firing up a bunch of ki blasts, but he's doing this with fireballs. And his AP, out of using magically, has subconsciously grown. And right now, if you were to translate that into stat points, it would be translated into him putting in 15 stat points into AP. So basically, he has 40 stat points into AP. And basically, Deku is firing off continuous fireballs, and these are hitting its targets, and one fireball is able to destroy a one ogre. And he's finished the with the uh the the second stage, and he goes on to the third stage and says, I'm done with this, and it kind of looks like he's charging up a Kamehameha, but no, he puts his hands in front of him, and he fires up continuous blast, and it kind of looks like a Kamehameha ray, but he can move it around. And these rays, the thing he sees next are giant bears, and he puts it into his hand, his continuous blast, and he's firing it off all around the the um the bears, and the bears are slightly getting damaged. And Deku's like, well, time to use it. Blue fireball, continuous blast, and he starts going off ki blasts with the blue fireballs, and he's like, teleport slash, and starts slashing off everything. And Deku's like, looks like I'm not ready for the next stage yet. Looks like I have to wait for them to respawn. And Deku he does like this stance where his back is to the wall, and he has a sword in front of him, and his both legs are up.